Welcome back to Arrowhead, Kansas City, Missouri. A beautiful, beautiful day. A lot nicer than when we first hit town. It was a lot colder. It's good news on the sidelines. Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Thank you, Greg. Well, we've talked at length about the plethora of weapons this Chiefs offense has to work with, but they will be without one of their top receivers today as Sammy Watkins has been ruled out for this game. He's been dealing with pain to his right foot since the fourth quarter of the game against the Browns last week. I'm told he had an MRI on it this week that showed nothing serious, so this is merely a precaution and it's unrelated to the prior surgeries he's had in the past to his opposite foot. He is expected to play next week against the Rams on Monday Night Football in Mexico. And guys, a great opportunity for Chris Conley today as he slates in as that number 2 receiver.
All right, Melanie, thank you. The Arizona Cardinals won the toss, and they will defer, which means young Mr. Mahomes will get his hands on the football first.
Well, and that's the first. It's hard to believe that that's the first coin toss that the Chiefs have lost all year. A lot has been made of that this week, that they're undefeated in coin toss. But the fact is, they're going to start off with the football. Patrick Mahomes is going to have a chance to get this offense fired up right away.
Yeah, they've scored on the first possession every game so far this year. So the Cardinals better have a little wrinkle or two in their defense after their week off to show Patrick Mahomes something he hasn't seen.
Tremon Smith is deep for the Kansas City Chiefs. And number 4, Phil Dawson, 43-year-old Phil Dawson, kicks it away, and we are underway at Arrowhead. This one's going to be well short of the end zone, bounces inside the 15-yard line, and here is Smith to the sideline and spun out of bounds on the far side of the field. And here comes Patrick Mahomes. Let's go down the list, Trent.
You know, it's hard to believe that the number of records this young man continues to get. He's only 2 touchdown passes away from breaking Len Dawson's touchdown pass record for the Chiefs, and you can see the number of 300-yard pass games. Some guy did that in 2004, and then winning games, 9-1, best through 10 games. So it's impressive what he's been able to do in such a short time.
Boy, what a thrill to sit in the booth and watch your record just get run right over.
I brought a couple extra tissues for you.
Kareem Hunt in the backfield as Mahomes starts in shotgun. He'll throw it. Pulled it down twice and then down the sideline. Hits his man. And out of bounds inside the 40-yard line is Tyreek Hill. That's just for openers.
Well, it's an interesting start to the game for the Cardinals. They decide to go man-to-man across the board with one deep safety in the middle. Patrick Peterson is one-on-one. Coach, if they're going to do that, Peterson has to get his hands on him just to try and slow him up. There was no help over the top with just one man in the middle of the field.
Yeah, Patrick's one of the best man-to-man guys, and I think he was expecting Trey Boston a little more help over the top, the way he went underneath.
And the way he yelled at him afterwards.
Yeah.
38-yard pickup on the play. 13th reception of 25 or more yards this year for Tyreek Hill. That's number 1 in the NFL. Under pressure, he got rid of it. And that is what the Cardinals are going to have to do as much as anything else today, is get some pressure on Mahomes. You will see the Kansas City offense at the bottom of your screen, and missing once again is center Mitch Morse, who is suffering from a concussion. And Andy Reid says he hopes to get him back maybe in 2 weeks. Austin Ryder filling in for him, and then the rest of the cast. 2nd and 10. Mahomes down the middle of the field, wide open, and a touchdown, Tyreek Hill.
Well, that didn't take long, Greg, and they're going to have to find a way. If they're going to go man-to-man with 10 guys near the line of scrimmage and only one deep safety, they're going to have to make sure that Trey Boston knows where Tyreek Hill is. And you can see the coaching staff just talking to him over on the sidelines. But you've got Mahomes. He's just going to work right down the field. There's Trey Boston. So as soon as Mahomes comes back, he sees the width of Boston. There's nobody there helping him. You can see the defender trailing, throwing his arms up in the air, thinking he has help. That's going to be a big task.
That's 2 plays to Tyreek Hill that both Patrick Peterson and Budda Baker were both expecting Trey Boston over the top, and he wasn't there.
Touchdown pass number 30 on the season for Patrick Mahomes that ties the great Len Dawson for the most in Kansas City franchise history. Well, once again, the Chiefs strike on their first offensive possession. 10 times, 10 drives, 10 scores. Touchdown pass number 30 to tie the great Len Dawson, who is enshrined in the Kansas City Ring of Honor here at Arrowhead Stadium. And just like that, the Chiefs are up 7-0. T.J. Logan is deep for Arizona. Will not run this one out. And the Cardinals will begin at the 25-yard line, and now we get a look at the 10th overall pick in the draft, Josh Rosen. Strong arm for starters, Coach.
Yeah, he can make every throw. I was really impressed with him last year, evaluating the draft. I thought he was the most NFL-ready quarterback in last year's class.
When he has time, he can stand in there and fire it. I like his pocket presence. I like the way he maneuvers. I like his release. It's just he's been under a lot of pressure this year. He's having to move his feet, not be stable. It's going to be a good job by the offensive line, or needs to be a good job by the offensive line to give him some space to throw today.
David Johnson in the backfield, and they will start with the give to Johnson. And Johnson trying to find some running room. He'll get about 3 yards on the play before Kendall Fuller comes up from the secondary to make the stop. And as you look at the offensive front of the Cardinals, they are missing, Coach, you said is a really big key in that line, and that's Mike Iupati, the left guard.
Yeah, I mean, that's their bell cow as far as running the football. Mike brings that physical toughness, and it's going to be tough. They're missing 2 or 3 guys down that offensive line.
Rosen, short drop, pass to the outside, incomplete. Larry Fitzgerald, the intended receiver on the far side of the field.
Never good, Trent, when you take a 3-step drop and get knocked down. I mean, this offensive line's got to step up today.
When you're a quarterback and you take a 3-step drop and you're getting it out as quick as you did, or the quick as Rosen did, the fact that he ended up on the ground, that's problematic. Chris Jones got right through and hit him to the turf.
That would be the enigmatic Chris Jones.
He does bring energy as he's trying to get the crowd cranked up right now.
Arizona, worst team on third down in the NFC. This pass is complete out here. This will be good for a first down. David Johnson on the receiving end and out of bounds at about the 40-yard line.
Byron Leftwich is doing a good job. He targets Larry Fitzgerald on second, David Johnson on third. They're the guys they got to get involved in this offense.
As we talked to the Cardinals, you were particularly interested, Coach, in why David Johnson has not been able to get started the way he can go.
Yeah, and a lot of it's injuries in the offensive line and just the usage of him. Byron Leftwich knows how to use him.
First down from their own 40. Johnson again. 1.5 yards at most. Probably give him a yard. Reggie Ragland with the stop.
One thing the Chiefs are going to do today, they're going to load the box. I think there were 9 guys, 8 guys in the box right there versus a 3 wide receiver set, and force Josh Rosen to throw the football.
Well, Bob Sutton likes to bring pressure, and he brings it from a bunch of different areas, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs. And he can stack all those guys at line of scrimmage. He likes to go a lot of man-to-man coverage, but he wants to cause confusion for the offensive line and protection schemes by having that many guys near the line.
A little movement and interaction up front in the middle of the line. Derek Nottie made the move for Arizona. Let's see who gets the blame. Carl Cheffers is our referee today.
Encroachment, number 91, defense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns got Nottie to jump off sides last week as well, so I'm sure that's something that Rosen and the Cardinals saw on tape, is get a hard count, try and get him to move, and they got an easy 5 yards that time.
Derek Nottie, the rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Florida State. On 2nd and 4, David Johnson, and Johnson bulls his way to midfield and would appear to have enough for another Arizona first down.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns last week, like Trent said, they lined up 2 tight ends and a fullback and had a lot of success running the ball inside, and that's exactly what the Cardinals did right there.
Well, that's a formula if you can do it. The problem by doing that formula is you got to be able to try and score enough points to keep up with the offense of the Chiefs, and you're also putting a lot of pressure on yourself to convert a lot of 3rd downs. So far the Cardinals have been able to do it on this drive.
The Cardinals first down at midfield. play fake this time. Rosen with time to the sideline. Got his man wide open, and inside the 30 is the tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones.
Yeah, Ricky Seals-Jones, he's an interesting guy. He's a wide receiver at Texas A&M. We got him as a free agent and put about 30 pounds on him, made a tight end. And he put his face in there, Trent. For a wide-out playing tight end, let's take his face in the fire a little bit. But he's a really good receiver and good matchup.
Excellent job by Rosen that time, recognizing the coverage, seeing D Ford. He stayed up flat to cover the flat. That gave him the throw over the top. Good, accurate throw.
Rosen setting up the screen and overthrows as we get a penalty marker down at about the 26-yard line. Intended for David Johnson. Let's see what the call is.
Offside, number 20. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's the corner, Steven Nelson, who had such a terrific game a week ago in Cleveland.
Yeah, excellent tackler for a corner. Screen game was really big for the Cardinals last week against the Niners, or last game against the Niners, and getting David Johnson involved more.
Coach, you say that like corners aren't supposed to do that.
They get paid to cover. A lot of them will tell you that, too.
I was going to say, Coach, if you ask them, a lot of them will say that same thing.
1st and 5. Johnson. And Johnson about a yard short of a first down as we check in with Melanie.
Well, Greg, a lot of frustration down here on the Cardinals sideline amongst the defensive secondary. Steve Wilks called the defense into a huddle after that last series and gave them a stern, heated talk, basically telling them to get it together. Antoine Bethay's been down here trying to pick these guys up, giving them pats on the back, saying, guys, we're good, forget about it. A much-needed positive voice down here in the Cardinals sideline.
Well, they got pounced on right off the bat with Patrick Mahomes, 2 out of 3 for 75 yards and a touchdown to start the game. Thank you, Melanie. 2nd and 1. Rosen rolls, looking, throws, and it is incomplete at the 10-yard line. Christian Kirk, the intended receiver.
Rosen under duress by D Ford, getting up the field on the bootleg and trying to get to the backside receiver as he takes the shot to the ribs. Ball's a little bit behind, and you'd like to see that out in front of Christian Kirk, but you'd also like to not have to take a shot to the ribs to make that throw.
He's looking for Larry Fitzgerald on a wraparound Hyde route, and they knocked him off the route, but gave him time to look downfield.
3rd and 1. And a whistle before the snap.
First charge, timeout.
And a timeout.
Arizona.
Taken by Arizona. We'll take a break. Back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm. You know, the numbers for the Kansas City defense are not gaudy, but they're the only team in the NFL not to allow a touchdown on an opponent's first possession. 3rd and 1. Johnson has the first down. And a couple of more as he bulls his way to about the 16-yard line. Kansas City has allowed just 3 points on an opponent's first possession all season long.
Yeah, if the Cardinals are going to stay in this fight today, they got to get touchdowns, not field goals.
That's exactly right. With the points that the Chiefs are putting up and the fact that they're down inside the red zone now, you have to come away with a touchdown at this point in time. You'd almost have to consider this early in the game. If it's short distance, you're going for it on 4th down.
Well, the one thing, you got to come out positive, though. So three on your first drive, that's positive, but you really need touchdowns. I like Larry Fitzgerald one-on-one attack. Oh.
Rosen throwing, Fitzgerald, end zone, diving, incomplete. Orlando Scandrick covering the great wide receiver.
Cardinals bring him in motion to put him to a wing position, and off the play fake, he fakes like he's going to block, and then he's running the corner route. Orlando Scandrick right in his hip pocket. Would have had to have been a perfect throw. Fitz lays out trying to bring it in and just off his fingertips.
You don't see Larry miss too many of those.
Boy, you're tough. You call that a miss?
I'm calling that a drop for Fitz. When he touches it, he catches it.
2nd and 10. Johnson. Running room on the left side. He ducks inside the 10 to the 9. stopped by Ron Parker. And it'll be 3rd and about 3.
Well, Ben Neiman was in on that tackle, and I see that Hitchens is dressed today, but he's not playing. He's on got a stocking cap on the sidelines. Anthony Hitchens, normal starting linebacker. Ben Neiman getting another opportunity after getting a start last week in Cleveland, getting another chance to enforce the middle of this Chiefs defense.
The Cardinals 2 out of 2 on 3rd down on this drive, which is now 11 plays long. This is the 12th play of this drive. 3rd and 3. Time running down on Rosen. Throwing, pass to the end zone, touchdown to Johnson out of the backfield.
Really good job. Trips formation to the field, tight end and David Johnson backside, and David just outran him to the pylon. Really good throw too by Josh Rosen.
Little pick play on the far side.
Seals Jones with the rub. Since there's no flag, Greg, it's not called a pick, it's called a rub.
Yes, indeed.
Although he did put his hands on him, so it's they got away with that one. But
Phil Dawson's extra point attempt is good. 8 minutes, 3 seconds to play in the first quarter. Arizona answers with a touchdown of their own, and we're tied at 7.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. Committed to hiring 20,000 veterans by 2020. McDonald's Classic Meal Deal at participating McDonald's. And by USAA, official NFL Salute to Service partner.
That's a glimpse or two of the National World War I Museum and Memorial located here in Kansas City, dedicated to remembering, interpreting, and understanding what World War I was all about. Phil Dawson, now 1,842 points, the number 11 all-time scorer in NFL history, and that is his onside kick, and it is rolling out of bounds at about the 40.
Cardinals catching the Chiefs by surprise and had an opportunity to jump on that ball. Player down on the field for the
Down
Cardinals.
at about the 47 or 48, and that's Buda Baker.
Well, that'd be a huge loss for the Cardinals. He had that ball in his hands, too, I think. It was a great kick by Phil.
And he is still on the turf. Meanwhile, we do have a penalty flag down. Another look.
It gets the required 10 yards.
And no possession before it rolled out of bounds.
The ruling on the field is the kicking team was last to touch the ball before it went out of bounds. That 5-yard penalty, that penalty will be declined.
I don't know. We may have to bring. We're all looking at each other. We may have to bring in Gene on that. I don't know that because it looked like Ben Neiman came up and touched it at the 10-yard mark, and then eventually the Cardinals, they were going back and forth trying to jump on it before it went out of bounds. So maybe they can. Maybe Carl Jeffers can clarify some things for us.
I think Zeke Turner might have swiped it at.
Let's see what happens. You'll see Neiman come up. Whether or not. Well, Buda Baker and Neiman were hitting the ball right about the same time. You think he maybe reached his hand in and touched that, and that's what they called him with a quick touch.
Over on the sideline, Zeke Turner, number 47, slapped the ball out of bounds. But
Well, here's the upshot. Great field position for this explosive offense, and the give on first down is to Kareem Hunt. Take another look at it.
that was a great kick, and Buda Baker really has a shot at this ball. He just hesitates and turns sideways. Yeah, I think Zeke Turner pushed the ball out of bounds.
Looked like he's trying to grab it with that left arm, but
Either way, it's great field position for the Chiefs. You bet. 2nd and 6. Quick pass out to the side. That's to Kareem Hunt. Penalty marker is down as Hunt has first down yardage. but we checked the flag.
Well, that was a set trick play. Did you see how he went in motion and everybody started yelling out at Kareem Hunt like he was going the wrong way, and they went ahead and snapped the ball? Well, let's see what the penalty is.
Illegal shift, offense. Multiple players moving prior to the ball was snapped. 5-yard penalty, second down.
So tricky that Andy Reid's going to want it explained to him.
Watch as Kareem Hunt goes in motion. Now watch, they all start turning point, telling him to go the other way.
Yeah, the receivers cannot turn and look backwards. That's resetting, so that put everybody in motion.
So even though they didn't move their feet, the fact they were twisting and pointing backwards and waving the other direction, that was what the penalty would be.
So it's 2nd and 11. The Chiefs at the Arizona 40. Mahomes feeling the pressure, straight ahead, 35, 30, first down yardage and out of bounds close to the 25-yard line.
Well, it's bad enough, Trent. He can make every throw in the book, but he's also very quick to get out of the pocket and run. He's athletic.
Well, and that's pick your poison. The Cardinals are only going to rush 4 and drop everybody else into a cover 2. Patrick Mahomes, what they did the previous series is everybody was near the line of scrimmage. They went man-to-man. What'd they do? 3 plays and touchdown. This time they go cover 2, soften everyone up. They rush 4, leave an open window, and Mahomes uses his athletic ability to pick up the first down.
Budda Baker is back in the Arizona secondary. First and 10.
That is great news for the Cardinals.
Mahomes over the middle. Travis Kelce, his first catch of the day. And right at the first down marker at about the 16-yard line, brought down by Antoine Bethea. That's a first down.
B.A., it's hard to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes when he's getting rid of the ball that quick. I know the offensive line did an excellent job of blocking. There was a nice pocket around Patrick Mahomes, but when he's getting the ball, making his reads that decisive and that accurate with the football, that's hard for a defense to get after a quarterback.
The only thing to do is get your hands up and try to bat it.
That's Hill in motion. The give is to Hunt. Hunt trying to turn the corner and not going to be able to do it. In fact, corralled back at about the 20-yard line. Let's see where they mark his forward progress. Corey Peters making the stop.
Chiefs trying some more trickery with guys moving in motion and going one direction, trying to do the pump fake, going the other direction. Cardinals not falling for it.
Yeah, it's all eye candy trying to get your eyes on defense in the wrong place. You have to be disciplined against this offense.
Kansas City with a 2nd and 12 as we come up on 5 minutes of play here in the first quarter. Mahomes still has it. Now tosses it out here to Hill. Hill finding running room. 15 and out of bounds at about the 13-yard line. Forced out by Trey Boston.
That's about as exciting of a 5-yard gain as you'll see. It looked like 2 guys had a tackle for loss.
Arizona had it snuffed out, but they just couldn't make the tackle.
Very Barry Sanders-like. And by the way, great ball handling by Patrick Mahomes.
You saw the fake going to the left, and then he hit the ball in his back pocket and flipped it out to Hill. It was, once again, as you said, Coach, eye candy, just checking your discipline.
Spencer Ware and Damian Williams are in the backfield now with Mahomes on 3rd and 8. And a whistle. And this will go against the Chiefs.
False start, number 87, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
The call is on Travis Kelce. We talked with him the other day. He's also having just too much fun in this offense.
Well, and you would when you're putting up the numbers that Kelce is and the accuracy with which Mahomes is throwing the football and giving him a chance to run yards after catch, put together an outstanding season.
Mahomes under pressure and goes down. Chandler Jones from the far side.
One of the best there is, brother, and he leads the sack and leads the league in sacks for the last couple of years, and he just whipped Eric Fisher right there.
Well, that's what you want to stay out of, and what the Chiefs have done a good job all season long is staying out of 3rd and long. 3rd and long, if you're on the outside, you know you're going to bring it. Chandler Jones one-on-one with Eric Fisher, beats him to the outside, and Mahomes can't step up before getting sacked.
Harrison Butker from 45 yards. On the way, looks good, is good by a lot. 3 minutes exactly to play here in the first quarter, and the Chiefs with a 3-point lead. The NFL is deeply committed to Salute to Service, the league's year-round effort to honor, empower, and connect with our nation's service members, veterans, and their families. Join the Salute by visiting NFL.com/salute. And we do thank each and every one of them. TJ Logan is deep. And this will bounce in the end zone for the touchback. Will not be returned. Your game plan for the day, Coach?
Well, yeah, it's already started, for Arizona Cardinals to come out, protect the ball, and get David Johnson going. Did a great job getting David Johnson going in that first drive. And again, defensively, get Kansas City in 3rd down. Got the big sack, held them to a field goal. Kansas City obviously keeps scoring early. They got 10 points already. And then stop the run, which they struggled with in that first drive. I thought that was a great job. Big win for their defense after trying that onside kick, holding them to 3.
Their first drive of the day was a 12-play drive. They only had 2 in the first 7 games, a scoring drive of 12 or more plays. This is David Johnson, and Johnson with a couple. Update time. Let's get you back to New York. James Brown and Coach.
Mr. Trubisky.
Yeah, Mr. Trubisky's going to find Allen Robinson from 36 yards out here. Mitch Trubisky first half, 9 of 10 for 139 yards, and Chicago leads Detroit 13-0.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB and Coach, thank you very much. As you look at the NFC North standings, and the Chicago Bears right up there at the top with Minnesota. On 2nd and 8, David Johnson in the backfield, and Rosen will give it to him. And he will go nowhere. Alan Bailey was there to put the brakes on that one. It'll be 3rd and 8.
Coach, you talked about as one of your things to get David Johnson going. They've had 11 snaps of offense. He's had the ball in his hands 10 of those 11 snaps, whether it's catching the ball out of the backfield like he did for the touchdown, or now he's already got 8 carries on the day.
Yeah, they have to live and die with David Johnson and get Larry Fitzgerald going, and Ricky Seals-Jones on the inside on 3rd down.
Arizona 3 for 3 on 3rd down so far this afternoon. Rosen had it tipped at the line of scrimmage, and it falls incomplete.
Well, you wonder what kind of impact Justin Houston was going to have after missing the last 4 games, being back in the starting lineup. He and D Ford coming off both edges, getting one-on-one, gave Josh Rosen no time as they were able to make contact right as that ball was thrown.
Yeah, and he had Larry Fitzgerald wide open on a little stop route at the sticks, and he was putting it right on him and did a great job of getting his hands up and batting it down.
Chris Jones, the one that got the ball tipped away, and Ford and Houston putting big pressure on.
Andy Lee kicking it away. Tyreek Hill at the 20. Takes a look, comes to the near side of the field, and is going to run out of bounds, losing a couple of yards on the way. 1:27 to play in a very competitive first quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. The best unlimited is on Verizon, America's most awarded network. And by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com.
Back at Arrowhead Stadium, just under a minute and a half to play in the first quarter that has the Chiefs on top by 3 at 10-7. Kareem Hunt in the backfield. The flip coming from the other way is Tyreek Hill, high with running room off the sideline and out of bounds, and there's a late flag thrown as Antoine Buffet knocked him out of bounds. Chiefs are already walking back in the other direction.
I don't know if they're going to get Travis Kelce. He attempted to make a block, and he was a little bit low, and but the timing of the flag just didn't make it seem like it would be Kelce. That was the only one I saw to that side of the field, Bia.
Andy Reid is close to the officials voicing an opinion. Here's Carl Jeffers.
There's no foul for clipping on the play. The result of the play is a first down.
So it's a 20-yard pickup.
Take a look at Kelsey. He'll get out here in front of it to see him. That's where the flag comes in. They thought it was maybe a questionable clipping. They picked it up.
Sure looks like clipping to me, Trent. I mean, you hit a guy in the back of the legs. That's clip.
They decided against it. 1 minute and counting now. First down.
Hey, we're good. We're good. Yep. 15.
Mahomes throwing. Almost intercepted by Budda Baker. Let's go back to Mahomes' touchdown pass early in the first quarter. Opening drive.
Tyreek Hill is going to be lined up on the inside slot. The two safeties are in a cover 2 look. As soon as there's any hesitation with the speed of Tyreek Hill going down the middle, as soon as you see, as a quarterback, you're watching the safeties, right? As soon as there's any kind of hesitation there, you know with that speed, that's where you're going with the football. And the result was a touchdown. Excellent throw.
I got you. Okay. Hey, Liz.
2nd and 10. Mahomes throwing. Looked like his arm was hit just as he released by Corey Peters. It'll be 3rd and 10. And again, whenever you talk to people who are about to play the Kansas City Chiefs, first thing they say is, we've got to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, and get him in 3rd down. And they're knocking him down. It's about 3 times they've knocked him down already. And he doesn't hit the deck very often.
Well, Greg, it's easier said than done just because of how quickly he gets the ball out of his hands. The majority of these throws, and we talked to Andy Reid about it on Friday, is short throws, quick throws, crossing routes, get the ball out of your hands, and then occasionally trying to take it up the field once you've got the defense off balance. And excellent job by Peters getting pressure and getting that contact on Mahomes as he's throwing.
Mahomes, deeper drop this time over the middle and wide open. He hit his man, Demarcus Robinson, for a first down.
Some confusion there by the Cardinals, and Mahomes took advantage of it. Ben Wickery and Budda Baker, both are hanging to the outside. See 23 and 36. Watch the hesitation, and they allow Robinson to go to the middle of the field. When you're in that type of coverage, you have no underneath presence. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback quickly, it's hard you leave that much of the field open.
Budda Baker's got to carry the inside receiver. It was an in and out coverage. And the big play so far in the game have all been miscommunications by the Cardinals.
That brings us to the end of the first quarter. 10-7 Chiefs, who are on the move again. We'll be back after this. Most of the numbers in the first quarter favor the Kansas City Chiefs. Look down below it. 4 penalties worth 21 yards. We turn around and head the other way. Hunt in the backfield. Hunt with the ball. Running room on the right side. First down yardage and then some before he's bumped out of bounds by Patrick Peterson.
Excellent job up front by the offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs. Creating the space for Kareem Hunt.
He did a really good job with his patience, stretching that run and finding that crease.
A week ago in Cleveland, had the 3 touchdowns total, 141 total yards. Turned himself into a complete back here. He's doing a heck of a job catching the ball out of the backfield as well.
Hey, Liz. Let's go, Blue. What's up?
On first down, Mahomes throws on the slant to Kareem Hunt. And that catch is made very close to a first down. And the Chiefs in hurry-up mode to the line of scrimmage.
Well, that was perfect timing. Because talk about a complete player making that catch. Not a lot of running backs can make a contested catch like that.
That one goes nowhere. They were in on Hunt in a hurry. Let's go back to that pass. Was it a completion?
Well, this could explain why they got on the ball quickly.
Ooh.
Try and get the ball snapped before they could review it. You can clearly see.
You gain 9 to lose 3. That's pretty good swap out right there. As the away team, you never get that replay for your booth fast enough when the team goes fast to get one.
3rd and 4.
Hey, we're good. Hey, Liz.
Mahomes under pressure and going down again. Chandler Jones.
Well, once again on third down, Chandler Jones one-on-one with Eric Fisher coming off the edge. Chiefs are going to have to make some adjustments. Right now, Chandler Jones, especially on third down, you're either going to have to chip him or put a tight end over there with a slow release, get a hand on him, something to shorten up that edge.
Yeah, he is so long, and he's got that one-hand stab where he got Eric Fisher off balance and just pulled himself through.
So this is Butker from 46 yards. He was good from 45 earlier, and he's good from 46 here. Just under 12 and a half to play in the first half. 3 more for the Chiefs. 13-7. We're back in a moment. Hey, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowher will have scores and highlights, all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 54-yard, 9-play drive, and Butker's second field goal of the game. This is TJ Logan, and Logan from about the 3. Cuts to the outside and gets some yardage before he's knocked out of bounds. He's about shy of the 30-yard line. We'll see where the official spot is. On Tuesday, a number of Chiefs wide receivers and cheerleaders visited Whiteman Air Force Base, which is about 60 miles from where we are here at Arrowhead Stadium. The visit included a behind-the-scenes look at the B-2 stealth bombers stationed on the base. Chiefs receiver Garrick Dieter, whose brother is currently deployed in Iraq, stated, "I appreciate everything these guys do for us on a daily basis. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without them." Amen. First down. Chase Edmonds in the backfield. Edmonds with the handoff. And not much there. Update time once again. Let's get you back to New York, JB and Coach.
It's an Ebron day.
Eric Ebron's second receiving touchdown. He's ready to run for one to a wide open blown coverage by Jacksonville. They now lead 21-7. It's safe to say there's issues in Jacksonville.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, Coach, thank you very much. Issues indeed. A team that was so strong last year, faltering in the first half of this season. 2nd and 8, Rosen. Losing time, still breaks away. On the move, throwing, and it is incomplete near midfield.
Well, that's one of the things Bob Sutton talked to us about, is he said, you know, Josh Rosen's not afraid to stand in there, and he's able to escape this sack here as Justin Houston appears to have him down and can't hang on to him. So the one thing about Rosen is he's mentally tough, and he'll stand in there and just keep firing it. So you have to keep up with the pressure, because what he's been able to see off the tape is this rookie's going to keep firing it in there, Coach.
Yeah, with Justin Houston and D Ford, now a combination of outside guys coming. That's really tough. Pick your poison, who you're going to help on.
3rd and 8. Rosen stepping out of harm's way and fires a bullet across the 40, close to the 45. Christian Kirk. And we have a penalty marker in the backfield.
Holding. Number 71. Offense. 5-yard, 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's the veteran right tackle, Andre Smith.
Well, we just got done, or Coach, you just got done talking about D Ford and Justin Houston. Watch this matchup right here. D Ford's Andre Smith just tackles him. Watch as he makes contact, and then he lands right on top of him, brings him down. That's an easy call for the officials.
But it was a nice tackle.
Well, rather have him tackling than him hit your quarterback.
That's right. That's right.
So now it's 3rd and 18.
Make the official call it.
Yes, indeed.
Rosen will flip over the middle. That's complete to TJ Logan, and Logan to about the 30-yard line. That's well short of a first down, and the punting unit will come on.
You know, that doesn't look like much, Greg, but that's a 12-yard gain. That really helps on this punt as far as field position, and it's a field position game right now for both teams.
Meanwhile, for the Arizona offense, that's back-to-back 3-and-outs, and Tyreek Hill, he has a 91-yard punt return for a touchdown earlier this season against the LA Chargers. stands inside his own 30. Far side of the field, and it's going to bounce along the sideline and out of bounds at around the 25-yard line with 10:24 to play in the first half.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. FedEx, possibilities, what we deliver by delivery. And by United States Air Force. Experience more at airforce.com.
With today being Veterans Day, throughout the game, we're paying tribute to many of our family members and our CBS crew who served in the military. Mahomes throwing and threw that one in the dirt. His man was covered at the 35-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Mahomes has done an excellent job all season long. When you consider the number of touchdown passes he has, can put that against the number of interceptions thrown. He doesn't force the ball or a lot of. I know he has such a strong arm, and you're thinking, well, he has that much confidence that he's going to try firing it in there. But a smart decision there to throw it away and not trying to wing it in there.
This is Kareem Hunt, and Hunt dragging his way to the 43, maybe the 44-yard line. A first down. Trey Boston is the man he drags for an extra 3 or 4 yards.
That's why it's so hard to get the Chiefs on 3rd down. They did a great job of stopping them on 1st, and they bust out there with a long run on the draw on 2nd down. And they lead the league in first down plays and first down yardage. So the Cardinals had a good stop on 1st and then just couldn't hold them in there on the 2nd.
New set of downs for the Chiefs. The give is to Hunt. Hunt, left side, inside a block, and inside the 45 to about the 43-yard line of the Arizona Cardinals.
Excellent job by center Austin Ryder, who's filling in for Mitch Morse once again at center. C62 get out in open space. He's able to get to that 2nd level, make contact, and that's what breaks Kareem Hunt to get to that next level to get the first down.
So now Spencer Ware in the backfield behind Mahomes. And Ware gets the handoff to the 40 and to New York for another NFL Today update. JB, Coach.
After converting a 4th and 2.
Yeah, it was James Devlin taking it from 1 yard out, completing a 10-play, 75-yard drive, and now New England back in the game, trailing Tennessee 17-10.
Greg, Trent, Bruce, and Melanie.
Gee, the Patriots coming back. What a shock.
Well, we were just up here, Coach and I were talking, you got to remember Matt Patricia, who's now in Detroit, gave New England fits, and now all of a sudden Vrabel doing the same thing in Tennessee.
On 2nd and 7, Mahomes on the slant. That is Kelsey. And Kelsey to the 29. They'll mark him down at the 30, but it's enough for a first down.
Cardinals brought a blitz, but they showed it way too soon, and Patrick Mahomes was able to see it, redirect his protection, and get an easy completion. They got to hold that disguise longer.
Well, it's such an advantage having a tight end like Travis Kelce. You can put him out in space. He runs like a wide receiver, and then from a size matchup, that time against Ben Wickery, it's just an easy pitch and catch for Patrick Mahomes.
So with Kareem Hunt in the background, play fake to him. And Mahomes going to throw it, and wide open at the 15-yard line is Chris Conley. Conley inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal. Did you see the little flick of the wrist that Mahomes just delivered the ball?
It looked like he was going to run, and all of a sudden he saw it, and he doesn't have his feet set like other people in this league. He just flips it out there like Andy Reid said. I got to remember he's throwing a football, not a baseball.
So there was just a little flip. So much is said about his arm strength, but he has some of those touch passes in his repertoire as well.
1st and goal.
Hey, let's go. Hey, Liz. Tyler. Wide.
And he goes down at the 20-yard line. Rodney Gunter. In on Mahomes. Looked like he was going to a little sidearm and then held onto it.
He was going to drop down and throw a little sidearm or underhanded thing there where
Watch as he gathers himself. He goes to flip it underneath, and Gunter just gets him.
He slid the protection to help Fisher on Chandler Jones, and Rodney Gunter whipped the guard one-on-one.
Patrick Mahomes, a career high 3 times he's been sacked. 2nd and goal now, but from the 15. This is Kelsey. And Kelsey just inside the 15-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and goal. And the shovel pass did not fool Arizona a bit.
Chiefs have had success with that play over the last couple of seasons, and that time Arizona prepared for it.
Yeah, 2nd and long, you're really not going to bite that fake, that run fake that much. So big down for the Cardinal defense right here.
Yep. Ware is in on 3rd down, and now Ware in motion to the far side of the field.
15.
Mahomes throwing, end zone, touchdown, Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill taking over our camera.
Was that a union violation? I was just curious.
I would imagine that's using a prop after a touchdown celebration, so not quite a cell phone. Not quite a cell phone, but...
Again, the Cardinals are over-aware now. He just runs into the end zone, stops, and comes back.
After the score, number 10 of the scoring team, that 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
And Tyreek Hill is going to be penalized for that.
So I guess they decided it was a prop.
And a big one. Our Andy Italiano just got to throw him back. Throw him back onto the field and reclaim your property. Extra point attempt is up and good. 5.5 minutes to play. In the first half. Another Mahomes touchdown pass. 73-yard scoring drive this time for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the 14-yard touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill. TJ Logan is deep. And this kick comes from the 20-yard line because of the penalty. And the line drive kick, Logan, for about the 4. The 25. And across the 30. Now let's go to the checklist. Oh, first of all, here's Tyreek Hill. This got him the penalty.
Keep an eye on the flag comes flying in here, Greg.
That's what.
He videotaped his own penalty being thrown. We're going to go out on a limb and say that's the first time in NFL history a player has filmed his own penalty being thrown.
I think so. You're right, brother.
5:23 to play. David Johnson, right side, out across the 30 to about the 39. Meanwhile, back to that checklist we were talking about, and you can check that one off because touchdown pass number 31 of the season breaks Len Dawson's franchise record here in Kansas City.
Well, and I would imagine at the pace he's going, he's gonna be in the upper 40s, if not reach 50 at this rate.
Meanwhile, here's a problem for Arizona. We're coming up on under 5 minutes to play in the first half. Larry Fitzgerald does not have a single pass reception. This is Johnson, and Johnson has a first down across the 45 to the 46. Larry Fitzgerald headed to the Hall of Fame just the minute he is eligible.
I don't think there's any doubt, Greg.
33 yards away from becoming number 2 all-time in receiving yards.
As I like to say, in the history of the game, which is really big.
Well, and you know him, Coach. You had him for many years, and just the fact not only the type of player he is, but the type of person he is.
Yeah, when you talk about Larry, you talk about the person first, because he's a better person and he's a great player.
Rosen with the short pass. David Johnson with blockers in front of him and up the sideline and out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Ron Parker bumped him out.
Good timing on the call there with the screen. Excellent execution by the Cardinals, getting out in space, and David Johnson getting up the field. Noddy close to getting to the feet of Rosen, but not able to get there, and you can see the separation.
So Arizona coming right back at the 30-yard line. First down. Remember, assisted greatly by the penalty against Tyreek Hill. Rosen can't get away from the rush. Ron Parker from his safety spot.
We mentioned in the first quarter, the thing Bob Sutton likes to do is he likes to bring pressure from different areas, different players, different packages. This time Ron Parker coming in off the edge. No communication there between the back and Gresham, the tight end.
Yeah, Jerome Gresham, that was his guy all the way, and Chase Edmonds got hung out to dry.
And Edmonds now out, replaced by T.J. Logan, who's in the slot on 2nd and 16. Rosen hit the ball in the air and falls. Let's see if that's ruled a pass or not. It is covered by Arizona.
I think it was ruled a fumble.
Number 64, Mason Cole, eventually covered it.
So Carl Jeffers, the official in the back, he ruled it as a fumble initially. We'll take another look here, see if his arm's going forward. That ball comes out before it moves forward. Can't imagine Arizona's going to challenge that.
We come to the 2-minute warning, and now for most of you, here is a special look at Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, in theaters Thursday.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway. Make it what you want. And by Kay Jewelers. For all the moments, for love, forever.
Yeah, look how big Chris Jones is.
You see him talking to Rosen as Rosen was running on the...
2 minutes to play here in the first half. The Arizona Cardinals, since the first down at about the 30-yard line of the Chiefs, been going the wrong way. 3rd and 33. Over the middle, Logan. Penalty marker is down in the backfield as Logan spun down just across midfield.
They're going to get Andre Smith again against D. Ford. Ford is just a track meet coming off that edge.
Number 71, offense. Penalties declined. 4th down.
So I asked you guys during the commercial break, is Bob Sutton likely to keep sending people on the blitz? And before I even finished, you guys went, yep, yep, absolutely.
Oh, there's no doubt, but right now he doesn't have to. They're 2 outside backers. They're just wearing out the tackles of the Cardinals. Plus, when they try to double team him, Chris Jones is killing the guard. So they got to get something worked on at halftime.
Andy Lee kicking. And this will bounce inside the 5 and into the end zone for the touchback. We'll take a break. We're back in half a minute after this from Lowe's.
To 40% off select appliance special values.
Welcome back as we come back. The quick pass to Tyreek Hill, and he's tackled by Patrick Peterson.
Well, a minute and a half left here before halftime, and the Chiefs still sitting on 3 timeouts, so you can utilize the whole field if you're Patrick Mahomes.
Pass to the near side. That's DeMarcus Robinson, and Robinson. Fans say he got a little bit of a face mask.
But, Coach, you were on the rules committee. They eliminated the incidental contact to the face mask. Now it's either 15 yards or nothing, and that wasn't a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, he grabbed and let go right away.
Well, maybe just a nice apology we'll do every once in a while.
big third down for the Cardinals. If they can get a stop here, they can get the ball back with a couple timeouts in their pocket.
3rd and 1. Spencer Ware is in the backfield. Let's see what Mahomes does. Going to throw for it. Quick pass to the outside. Complete to Robinson. 1st down. Evades one tackler at the 35 and goes forward to about the 36. And a timeout stops the clock with 1:11 to play in the first half. I want to remind you once again, the Verizon halftime report. They are in New York chomping at the bit. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and the coach have scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. This is what the Chiefs have done on their first 4 possessions. And you know that we've made note of the fact that the Cardinals defense has stood tall at times, but I guess it's that constant pressure, Coach, that you just can't defend everything that comes at you.
Yeah, and I mean, they gave up a touchdown on 3rd and 11 or 12, and that was just bad defense. They need to get a stop here before the half to stay in this game.
Hey, 57, 50, Billy, hey, Tim. Let's go, Blue, let's go.
Mahomes, the screen. This is Spencer Ware. Ware across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Clock continues to move. We're under a minute to play now in the first half. Mahomes under pressure, and he's going to go down back at the 36-yard line. Benson Mayowa.
Well, it's almost halftime, Coach. We finally have something that we can coach Patrick Mahomes up on. That one right there in the 2-minute drill, you got to be able to throw that away. You know where your guys are. You realize that the pressure's coming off the backside. He is so athletic and has been able to extend plays, but in that situation, just knowing the understanding the game management part of it with 42 seconds and where you are on the field, that's not the time to hang on to it and try and take that.
Yeah, his creativeness gets him in trouble a lot of times. And, you know, as you play, like you know, Trent, as longer you play, the more times you say, oh, it's 2 minutes. It's not the first quarter now. I gotta throw this away. We're playing against the clock.
So 3rd and 11, he needs the 47-yard line for a first down. Kansas City down to 1 timeout remaining.
Hey, 15. Let's go on, 80. Let's go.
Mahomes throwing, sidearm. And incomplete at midfield, intended for Demarcus Robinson. But that was another flick of the wrist. And it had some smoke on it.
Yeah, he turned a double play. Like Andy Reid said, he throws that baseball. He throws the football just like a baseball. And this guy's got to make a catch for him right there. Again, good pressure by a 3-man rush by the Cardinals again. I think they had 3 guys on channel during that.
They did. I was keeping an eye on it that time. They made sure they did. Spencer Ware giving him a shot before releasing out into his route.
The ruling on the field of an incomplete pass is under review.
So they will take a look at that with 35 seconds to play. Didn't look to be much doubt about it, did it?
No, that's why Patrick didn't even he didn't even budge off the seat. You know, a lot of times you're like, oh, we're going to review it. You grab your helmet, you're like, maybe we're going to roll. It didn't even affect him.
Yeah, let me know what you guys see.
I wouldn't even know what the replay official's looking at to call that stoppage right here.
Down.
Now, it does help the Cardinals a little bit, stops the clock.
So there's our story. Just over a half minute to play here in the first half, and Arizona hoping to get the ball back with some decent field position and 2 timeouts remaining.
What do you think, Coach? What do you think Byron Leftwich will have going in his pocket here? 35 seconds, couple timeouts. What do you think he's going to dial up for Josh Rosen?
I think they'll look for some seam balls because they do have the 2 timeouts. Get 4 verticals. They'll probably be seeing some form of two deep coverage. Get one of those benders over the middle and see if you can get in Phil Dawson's.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's an incomplete pass. 4th down.
Tyreek Hill, 117 total yards in the first half. Arizona has 98 total yards. No penalty in the backfield as the punter goes down. And this is Christian Kirk, and Kirk will be brought down shy of the 20-yard line. So 25 on the clock.
Yeah, I think what the Cardinals will do here is see if they can get a chunk, maybe a screen or a draw or some kind of seam ball. But the one thing you cannot do is turn it over.
Boy, every one of the Arizona Cardinals that we talked about the last time out, what that comeback that Josh Rosen engineered against the 49ers did for the team morale.
Oh, there's no doubt. And Larry Fitzgerald said yesterday, when he stepped in the huddle, we knew we were going to win. He had just a great command of the huddle at that time.
Well, I agree with you, Coach. I think with the 2 timeouts, you have to try getting in position, if anything, to try a long field goal before the end of the half. You get the ball first coming out in the second half, you might as well try and add some points to it, get a double dip.
Tried to set up the screen, and that is batted down by Chris Jones. 6'6", 310 pounds, although he says he's a little lighter than that now.
He said he dropped 20 pounds in the offseason. Maybe helped out with his vertical there.
Yeah, they had a screen set up. Josh has got to learn to continue to settle back and get it over top of those hands that you know are coming, because they had a play right there.
And they'll take a knee and take it to the locker room. That relentless Kansas City offense put 20 on the board, and you saw Larry Fitzgerald there. He has yet to be involved in the Arizona offense. Arizona will get the ball to start the second half. But right now, we come to the end of the first half with our score. The Chiefs 20, the Cardinals 7. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. As we get set for the start of the second half, Kansas City leading Arizona by a score of 20-7. Let's take a look at our first half heroes presented by Downey. And those 2 heroes, boy, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and 2 touchdown passes have Patrick Mahomes now atop the Kansas City franchise list of most touchdown passes in a season. And we're only halfway through the season. Welcome back, everyone. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Bruce Arians. This game feels a lot like the game we saw a week ago, Kansas City against Cleveland, where the Browns were close and they stuck in there for a little while, but they couldn't prevent the relentless attack that the Chiefs bring to the game.
The third down and long touchdown pass by Patrick Mahomes, I think, was really bad defense by the Cardinals. And then they got it down to the 30-yard line to get themselves back in the game and just sack, fumble, and they're out of it.
I thought coming off the bye week that they came out very strong. The opening drive, Arizona, they went down, they scored. We're like, okay, this offense has gotten into a rhythm, and since then they haven't been able to convert a third down.
Yeah, as you look at the stats from the first half, look, if I know that it's a priority for Arizona to get Larry Fitzgerald involved in the football game, the Chiefs have to know it too.
Well, they've been putting the fact that David Johnson has most of the touches, whether it be carrying the football or throwing to him out of the backfield, and I think that was their game plan coming in, but you have to find ways to get Larry Fitzgerald involved.
This is T.J. Logan, and Logan from about the 3. Looking for running room on the far side and finds some. Out across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds, and a nice return by T.J. Logan. Down the melody.
Thank you, Greg. Well, I spoke with Andy Reid first. He told me we've got to tighten things up along the offensive line and give Patrick Mahomes some more time back there. In terms of limiting David Johnson, he wants his defense to squeeze the gaps and play more fundamentally sound. Then Steve Wilks told me he's disappointed in his defense's inability to stop the big play. That was a big key for this team today. And he said in terms of getting Larry Fitzgerald going in the second half, he said we've got to move the ball around more, but to be able to do that, we have to protect better for Josh Rosen.
Melanie, thank you. And Steve Wilks should know he's not the only one being victimized by the big play attitude of the Kansas City Chiefs. That's David Johnson with the carry.
Well, based on what happened in the first half, and you see the first play of the second half, David Johnson is the game plan coming into this game, whether it be running the ball or catching the ball. Yeah, that's his 12th carry or 11th carry on the day, and leads them with 3 receptions out of the backfield as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see him use him more as a wide receiver, because when he comes out of the backfield, not only opens up him, but it also opens up Larry Fitzgerald on the backside.
2nd and 7. Once again, Johnson to the 45. It'll leave them a 3rd and 4. And Johnson, as you said, has been the focus. Hadn't had a run longer than 7 yards today, though.
He's such a dual threat. 2 years ago he had one of the best seasons ever, and trying to get back into form. And with a young quarterback, that's what you want. You want to be able to lean on a running back, but also get him involved in the passing game.
Well, the opening drive, Arizona was 3 for 3 on 3rd down. So far, since that opening drive, they're 0 for 3. It's important to try and get this 3rd and 4 right here.
Rosen, quick pass outside. That is complete. And at midfield, Larry Fitzgerald with his first catch of the day.
And we need to see a lot more of that.
Well, and I like the fact that offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich dialed up a quick pass, because D. Ford and Justin Houston have been teeing off with the pressure that they've been able to put on Josh Rosen when it's been 3rd and long. But because it was 3rd and 4, they're able to throw a quick ball, get it out of his hands quickly. Larry Fitz getting the first down.
That's 220 consecutive games for Larry Fitzgerald with at least 1 reception. First down at midfield. This is Johnson, and David Johnson rips off a first down run to the 40-yard line, brought down by Reggie Ragland.
Don't know if anybody noticed, but Larry Fitzgerald caught the 3rd down pass on 1st down, went over and blocked D. Ford, the defensive end, for that running play for 7 or 8 yards, for 10 yards.
Just underway here in the first half, and Arizona has moved it now to just inside the Kansas City 40-yard line. David Johnson again. And he'll be marked down at about the 35-yard line, running against a Kansas City defensive front that's number 25 in the league against the run. We said at the beginning of the day, these defensive numbers for the Chiefs are not spectacular.
Well, it's not, and when your offense is putting up as many points and as many yards as they're doing, and really they do it in a quick manner, the defense is going to be on the field quite a bit, and the other team is going to be throwing the ball all over the place today. You're here in the second half. The Cardinals, you can see they're trying to establish the run to get themselves more into makeable 3rd downs.
Rosen, quick pass near side, complete to Johnson, and Johnson to just inside the 35-yard line. Justin Houston was there.
Great reaction by Justin Houston to see the quick throw on the wide receiver screen to David Johnson and just chased it down.
Justin Houston, we said at the very beginning, missed the last 4 games because of a hamstring, still came into the game with 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. A difference maker on defense. 3rd and 5 now. Rosen throwing, that is complete inside the 30-yard line to Christian Kirk for a first down. Christian Kirk, the 2nd-round draft pick out of Texas A&M.
Well, and I like the burst that Kirk brings to this offense. He's got a dimension of speed that Arizona needs, and that time he doesn't have to utilize the speed, and makes a good catch to convert the 3rd down.
So the Cardinals now from the Kansas City 28. Rosen stepping up, has some time, throws, and that's complete to the 15-yard line. And Fitzgerald is there for that catch.
Larry's one of the best at shielding his body and just playing like rebounder. He puts the guy in the back hip, holds him off. Good throw by Josh.
Well, and they're in bracket coverage there. You can see Eric Murray, the safety, to the inside, and you had Nelson to the outside, and he's able to, with that kind of time in the pocket, Josh had plenty of time to slide up after that play fake. Fitz just kept coming back to the ball, as you said. Good throw by Rosen, and excellent job by Fitz to come back and fight for it.
Rosen 4 for 4 throwing on this drive. Back to the ground game with Johnson, and Johnson for maybe 1.5. He'll spot it at the 13-yard line.
Really like the mix that Byron Leftwich, offensive coordinator, is using. Run, pass. Nice time right here for maybe a play action pass to get somebody down the middle.
10th play of the drive already, over 6 minutes. That's how you keep the Chiefs offense off the field, is time-consuming drives.
It's a 6-minute drive so far and counting. Rosen throwing, corner of the end zone, incomplete. Trent Sherfield was the nearest receiver. This Arizona team has not had a 100-yard rusher yet this season. David Johnson is at 15 carries for 63 yards so far.
At that time, defensive coordinator Bob Sutton brought the house. And Josh Rosen felt the pressure and let it go just a tick too soon because he had his guy on the corner route.
Well, and I thought because of that pressure, he should have gotten the ball out quick to Seals Jones, the tight end, out in the flat, just because you realize you're not going to have a ton of time. Even though man-to-man, and he eventually got open, it's just, on second down, you got to get 3, 4, 5 yards to put yourself more manageable on third down. I thought he made a mistake not doing that.
Here's a big 3rd and 8 for Arizona. Rosen throwing, end zone, incomplete. Christian Kirk, 2 defenders on him. And a penalty flag is down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 55, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic. First down.
Well, D. Ford got there. Got there a little too roughly. Meanwhile, that's right guard Justin Pugh down on the field. And that shot to the helmet will get it every time. We'll take a break. That penalty has set the Arizona offense at the 6-yard line, 1st and goal. Chris Edmonds, Derek Coleman in the backfield. Edmonds to the 5, to the 1. And it'll be 2nd and goal from the 1. Arizona managed 7 first downs in the first half. They've had 5 on this drive.
Yeah, good adjustments at halftime. Really a great jump cut here. Chris Jones was in the backfield. Chase Edmonds just made him miss.
A couple of changes on the Kansas City defense, and now Andy Reid gesturing from the sideline. This is finally granted the timeout that he was looking for.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Kansas City, their first of the half.
So there was a full-scale shuttle going on between the Kansas City defensive huddle and the sideline.
Yeah, from a personnel standpoint, they just were trying to get bodies on the field, and Coach Reid was trying to get that timeout done.
Yeah, and if I'm Steve Wilkes, I'm really upset because they just let them show my play. They had a dialed up play, and they just waited too long to get the timeout called and let the play show. So now they got to go to another play.
I was fascinated. Andy Reid was telling us about the number of new plays that he comes up with every week. Could be as many as 10 or more, depending on, I don't know, maybe how well he slept that night, yeah. How active his mind was.
Well, and it was, we saw a bunch of those in the first half. Let's see where the Cardinals dial up here.
David Johnson to the end zone, touchdown. Big drive and a touchdown for the Arizona Cardinals offense.
Great start to the half. Really good. Great job by Byron Leftwich and Josh Rosen. Obviously did a great job at halftime, getting some adjustments made and getting the right plays in there.
Good job by that offensive line creating the push up front. That was important to finish off that drive with the touchdown, Coach. And you consider how long that drive was.
Phil Dawson's kick is good. 7 points on the board for Arizona. They managed only 7 points in the third quarter all season long. Up until now, 20-14 Chiefs.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Green Book. In theaters this Thanksgiving. Chipotle. For real. And by State Farm. Here to help life go right.
And our salute to service continues with our memories of the loved ones of our CBS crew. 20-14, 7:48 to play in the third. Second half began with a terrific kickoff return by T.J. Logan. And then finished up with the touchdown. This is Tremon Smith from about the 6-yard line. Chased down and brought down back at the 12-yard line. Deion Buchanan, and a flag is down. Let's see if this will qualify as a horse collar.
Well, I think they're saying the penalty is going to be because of a horse collar, but what the Cardinals are saying is that he pulled him down by his hair, which is legal. You can bring someone down by their hair.
There's no foul for horse collar on the play. The runner was legally tackled by the hair. First down.
Shades of Trent Green down on the field.
You want to wear your hair long? It hurts when they tackle you by it.
So no penalty, and on first down, Kareem Hunt is wrapped up by Marcus Golden.
Think about how long the Chiefs have been sitting. This offense has been sitting. Arizona finished the half, then all of halftime.
Now you can go flat.
In actual time, right? Well, I'm not talking just game time. I'm talking actual time, halftime, and then, so what's it been, a good 35, 40 minutes, it seems like.
Hunt flanks to the far side of the field. Second and 11, and Mahomes to throw to this side of the field. Complete and out of bounds, Travis Kelce. So he'll be marked out at about the 21-yard line. It'll be third and short.
When I would think that's a matchup Mahomes is going to look for. If he can get Travis Kelce matched up on Hassan Reddick one-on-one, and it's not a knock on Reddick, it's just the fact that the type of receiver that Travis Kelce is, his ability, it's a matchup problem.
Yeah, they're playing cover 2, and he's got to stay inside. He's got to give him that route.
Mahomes on the move, going to run for it, and gets the first down at the 25-yard line. Marcus Golden and Hassan Reddick got to him, but not before. Mahomes picked up the first down and comes up with a bit of a limp.
When as he took off to start and run, this entire Arrowhead crowd just took one deep breath, and nobody exhaled until they saw him get up.
Yes, he couldn't slide or he wouldn't have made the first down. And the ball never reached the line anyway. I'd be challenging this. He was way down before that line.
No challenge forthcoming from the far side, and the give is to Kareem Hunt. And Hunt still on his feet and now across the 35.
Where's the penalty?
Well, never heard a whistle, so he kept going. Kareem Hunt came into this game most total yards after contact, whether it be catching the ball or running the football, and you can see he's shown through his short year-and-a-half career, he's hard to bring down.
He made that push with Rodney Gunter on his back.
We're good.
On first down, Mahomes going to keep it again, and this time he will slide down at about the 43. Melanie, what do you got?
Greg, an injury update for Cardinals right guard Justin Pugh. They brought him into the medical tent where they quickly evaluated his left knee. He came out not being able to put any weight on it, and he was carted off into the locker room. He will not return to this game, and that's an impactful injury as the Cardinals are already missing their other starting guard in Mike Iupati.
It is indeed, Melanie. Thank you. At the start of this week, Arizona is adding offensive linemen from their practice squad. 2nd and 5. Mahomes, little toss. Kelce, first down yardage and more. Lost the ball, but out of bounds. Antoine Bethea forced him out.
This is a double crossing route. Watch Conley. He'll be coming from the left side of your screen. Travis Kelce coming from the right side. He just works underneath in a man-to-man coverage. You're just trying to get the defender to bubble over the top, and that's actually what happened. Antoine Bethea bubbles over the top of Conley. That gives the separation for Kelce.
And we have another injury on the field, and we will take a quick break. That's Hassan Reddick, who was the injured Cardinal on the field, trotted off the field under his own power. Meanwhile, a first down for Kansas City at the Arizona 47-yard line, and this is Hunt. Can't turn the corner. In fact, this will go for a loss. Zach Moore brought him down.
I think that play was stopped because of Gunter. Gunter on the inside forced Kareem Hunt to bounce it to the outside. Eric Fisher was trying to kick out Zach Moore, which he did a good job of kicking it out, but there was nowhere for Kareem Hunt to cut inside. So when he bounced it to the outside, that's right where Moore was waiting to make the tackle.
Loss of 4, 2nd and 14.
15.
Mahomes with time. Incomplete, middle of the field. Tyreek Hill wants a penalty flag. There is none. He was covered by Josh Bynes. It'll be 3rd and 14.
It's that 3-by-1 formation again. This time, just a sit-down route. Very similar to what they threw the touchdown on. Just run up the field, throw it at the back of the head, and
he does have his hands. He has his hands on Tyreek Hill.
I'm betting he thought it was an catchable pass, but you get by with a lot of them down the middle.
Now on 3rd and 14, the screen. This is Anthony Sherman, and brought down from behind just as he crossed midfield by Buda Baker.
Buda Baker is one of the best young safeties in the league, and he just loves to play the game. Smart, tough, physical.
Well, the thing is, Buda Baker's on a blitz. He's blitzed, and all of a sudden he gets picked up, and pretty crafty way to get up off the ground. None of us in the booth can do that or get close to doing that.
Or ever did. Couldn't quite down it inside the 5-yard line, and it goes through the end zone for the touchback. Buda Baker, not only the play, how about the recovery?
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, in theaters Thursday.
More of those we know and love as we pay tribute in this Salute to Service Sunday. 20-14. Arizona from its own 20-yard line. And David Johnson for about 2, maybe 3.5. I want to remind you tonight, big tech companies are making billions off of your personal data, but are they protecting it? Plus, these twins made a secret pact as children that has led them to become NFL teammates. The amazing Griffin brothers tonight on 60 Minutes. 2nd and 7. As we are in the final 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Rosen throwing, complete to the sideline. Christian Kirk, and out of bounds. It'll be 3rd and about 5.
Well, as crazy as this sounds, this is a huge 3rd down for the Chiefs defensively and Arizona obviously offensively. With Arizona consuming so much of the 3rd quarter, going down and getting a touchdown, and then the Chiefs having to punt the ball.
Yeah, they've had the ball the entire 3rd quarter.
This is a big momentum play here.
If they can convert there, they're gonna wipe out the whole 3rd quarter.
Arrowhead gets noisy. Rosen, complete. This is Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald not going to make it to first down territory. And Arizona will have to kick it away. Orlando Scandrick, Kendall Fuller combined for the stop.
Yeah, just a straight option route by Larry Fitzgerald, and the receiver next to him got jammed, so he couldn't quite get he needed to push that up 2 more yards and get the first down.
And there really wasn't much more time for Josh Rosen to sit there and wait for him to get that depth, because D Ford and Justin Houston coming off the edges once again, getting the pressure on Josh Rosen.
Tyreek Hill back at his own 30-yard line. Or a line drive kick, and he gets a great bounce, and it rolls out of bounds on the far side of the field. 10 years ago, Kurt Warner and the Cardinals met the Steelers in Super Bowl 43. Warner connected with Larry Fitzgerald on 2 touchdown passes, but on the game's defining play, Santonio Holmes caught a late touchdown pass, tiptoed the sideline, giving the Steelers the win. We remind you, Super Bowl 53 coming your way here on CBS February 3rd, where more memories will be made.
I never wore that ring when we were in Arizona.
I tell you what, that's one of the great catches in Super Bowl history right there.
The throw was just unbelievable.
Mahomes with the flip to Hill. Hill up the sideline. Not to overstate the obvious, but he can scoot.
Yeah, he is 0 to 60 in one step. I mean, Hassan Reddick can run, and he just flew past him.
And that will bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs didn't put a point on the board in the 3rd quarter, but they lead it by 6 as we go to the 4th. As we welcome you back to Kansas City to start the 4th, members of Patrick Mahomes' family here in the stadium. That is his dad, former pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. Twins, Red Sox, Mets, Rangers, just to name a few of the teams he pitched for. Quick pass outside. Tyreek Hill, and Hill. Boy, what a burst he gets in about a step and a half. Good on the Melanie.
Well, Greg, when I spoke to Patrick Mahomes, his father, before the game, I asked him what he's most proud of. He said it's the way in which Pat carries himself. He's kept a level head through all of this, and he's leading men and being accountable. And his father could not give enough credit to Alex Smith. He said for him to take my son under his wing when he didn't have to and be so incredibly selfless and gracious with his time and knowledge of the game, I don't have the words to describe the respect I have for him. He feels forever indebted to Alex Smith.
Good point, Melanie. Thank you. On 2nd and 6, Mahomes looking for room, has a penalty marker thrown in the backfield and throws it away.
I think there's no doubt that's going to be on Eric Fisher.
Yeah, he's got his hands full out there with Chandler Jones.
Holding, number 72, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat, 2nd down.
That is Eric Fisher. You know, just adding to what Melanie was talking about with, as you take a look at the hold here.
Much as he tries to escape and slide over.
You know, Andy Reid couldn't talk highly enough of how Patrick Mahomes handles a locker room, and he goes all the way back to his dad's experience.
Well, when you grow up around it in that atmosphere, you kind of see how those guys conduct themselves, and I think that definitely has some carryover.
This is Hunt, and Hunt airborne and then brought to the turf by Budda Baker.
I think Budda was ready for that high jump.
And there's a slight disagreement over the way Kareem Hunt was taken down at midfield. And the players are now separated and they go their way.
Kareem Hunt has had some success with that hurdle, and you can see that Budda Baker was ready for it.
Well, again, the Cardinals have him in 3rd and long, and this is not the best down the distance for the Chiefs. And again, Chandler Jones one-on-one over here on this side.
Mahomes in trouble and going down again. Back at the 33-yard line, Josh Bynes, number 57, got in on the Kansas City quarterback.
Yeah, a great blitz designed by Al Holcomb, the defensive coordinator. They did some good halftime adjustments also, because they're playing really good defense right now.
Well, 2 possessions now for the Chiefs in the second half, and no points to show for it as you see the pressure collapsing around Patrick Mahomes. No time to get rid of the football.
Third straight punt. Chiefs, Colquitt. And inside the 20-yard line is Christian Kirk, and Kirk will go down just about where he pulled it in, courtesy of Marcus Kemp.
This might be the first game Dustin Colquitt punted as many times as he held.
12:50 to play, fourth quarter. Around the league, people are looking at the scoreboard and going, Crowd trying to give their defense a little bit of support vocally. 20-14, Kansas City, Arizona. From its own 17-yard line. Rosen throwing down the sideline. Caught and out of bounds is David Johnson out of the backfield.
Well, Trent, you and I were talking about in the break. It's time to take a shot down the field. Now, J.J. Nelson was double covered, which opened it up for David Johnson down the sideline.
David Johnson coming from out of the backfield, quick play fake, and he talked about, as you said, Coach, trying to take the top off, getting over the top. Well, that was covered, so get to your next route. And that time, David Johnson, good back shoulder throw by Rosen. Plenty of time in the pocket. Big first down.
23-yard pickup. Rosen sets up the screen, intercepted! Picked off by Justin Houston!
Justin Houston, excellent athletic play. DJ Humphries is blocking him, and maybe blocking him too well with the screen trying to be set up to that side. Houston comes off and recognizes that Johnson's trying to sneak out. He times his jump perfectly. He's able to get the interception.
Josh Rosen just heard, Justin batted one down earlier, so he heard this one and just didn't let it develop. And Justin makes an unbelievable play.
The Chiefs take over. The pitch for Hunt. Hunt turns the corner and goes out of bounds.
Well, and really the offense for the Chiefs hasn't been able to do anything here in the second half. A big momentum change by the defense of the Chiefs to get give the offense some great field position. Houston missing the last 4 games with an incredibly athletic play on the interception.
Yeah, we'll see Cardinals change possession. They need to stand up right here and hold them to at least 3.
On 2nd and 4, quick pass to Kelsey, and Kelsey inside the 20. And run out of bounds by Ben Wickery. Enough for the first down.
They're going to continue to try and find ways.
Well, that play, there was a lineman downfield because that's a running play. They extend it and throw the ball. And I was trying to see if he threw it backwards because if it's a forward pass, it's illegal because the linemen are downfield.
From the 19.
Hey, rip. Hey, 1, 4, 3. I got you. Let's go, little 80. Let's go.
Quick pass. This is Hunt down the sideline and out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. Excuse me, the 3-yard line, not the 8.
He sees and recognizes, Patrick Mahomes does, the pressure that's coming. He knows he has to get the ball out of his hands quickly. Kareem Hunt one-on-one on the outside.
Yeah, that's just a poor job by Zach Moore. He's got a blitz peel. He just let him out running.
So Hunt and Ware in the backfield on 1st and goal. The give is to Ware, and Ware to the end zone. No touchdown call yet. Now there is.
Good misdirection by the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill coming in motion. Looks like they're going to go for 2. Watch Hill as he come in motion. Quick flash fake here. Underneath, handoff to Ware. And it's just a matter of pushing the pile.
So the 2-point attempt to make it a 28-14 lead. Tyreek Hill now in motion to the far side. Rosen throwing, incomplete. Kelsey, his intended receiver, and a bunch of Cardinals around him. Justin Houston with the big interception and to turn this game back in favor of the Chiefs in a hurry.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by E-Trade, the original place to invest online. Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you.
Back in Arrowhead Stadium, with our producer Ken Mack, our director Suzanne Smith, Greg Gumbel, Frank Green, Bruce Arians, Melanie Collins, with 10:14 to play here in the fourth quarter. TJ Logan standing a few yards deep in his end zone. And doesn't look like he'll return this one, and he will not. This will save TJ a little bit. I want to remind you, Saturday, the SEC on CBS brings you the best game from the best conference. Missouri battles Tennessee, and the day kicks off with the college football today at 3 Eastern time. You know, just a few short minutes ago, you have to figure these Arizona Cardinals coach had this game right where they wanted it. They've got a quarterback who just engineered a fourth quarter comeback his last time out.
Well, he's got 10 minutes to do it again.
But that time he was only down by 6. Now he's down 26-14. They'll start with David Johnson on the ground, and Johnson pulls his way across the 30 to about the 32, maybe the 33, where Orlando Scandrick brings him to a stop.
Well, and this is an important drive for Josh Rosen in so many ways. How do you respond as a rookie? You just threw an interception. You're on the road. You're down 6 to a high-scoring offense. You threw the interception. Chiefs go down and score. Now, how do you respond? How do you handle that adversity? Tell a lot goes on right here in this drive.
David Johnson, a season-high 75 yards rushing. 2nd and 2. He will look for the first down and get it across the 35 to the 36. Trent, I know they always say, well, when you throw an interception, you just got to forget about it. That sure sounds like it's easier said than done.
Well, it is. And one of Coach Vermeil's great sayings that he always loved going to was one snap and clear. I don't care if it's a touchdown, an interception, good play, bad play, it's one snap and clear. You better be focused on the next play no matter what happened the previous play, because then that'll end up having an impact. So easier said than done, but as a quarterback in this league, very similar as a cornerback in this league, you better forget that previous one no matter what happened and get ready for the next one.
On first down, that one brought to a halt. J.J. Nelson ran into a red brick wall led by D. Ford.
D. Ford with excellent recognition. He's going to come up the field, doesn't fall for it at all as the around's going to come right into his lap. Watch as he gets upfield. He sees it coming. As soon as he sees that motion coming that way, he gets upfield. There's no escape, and he's able to seal him inside and get the play.
Loss of 10, 2nd and 20. Now Josh Rosen has to get some yardage back. On the blitz, he got rid of it. Incomplete.
Really poor job with the offensive line and totally miscommunicating on who is blocking who. They're all standing there looking at each other right now.
Josh Rosen's been under pressure all day. It was refreshing to talk to D. Ford on Friday, and after dealing with a couple seasons of back injuries and surgeries and rehab and coming back, feels like he was healthy all offseason, reconditioned his core, and is excited to be back playing at a high level because of that health.
3rd and 20. Roser going to throw it as far as he can down the middle of the field. It is batted away, incomplete. Orlando Skandrick went up and knocked it down. We have a penalty marker down on the near side of the field at about the 23-yard line.
Holding, number 71, offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
The right tackle, Andre Smith, guilty of the hold.
My guess is that hold was against D Ford. He's had a rough day going one-on-one with D Ford.
Yeah, I think J.J. Nelson had him. Josh Rosen didn't have enough time to step up, and the holding penalty would have negated it anyway.
Tyreek Hill back inside his 30 for the punt. Hill takes a glance at the sideline from the 20, trying to turn the corner. Penalty markers fly as he comes up the sideline. One block ahead of him. Tyreek Hill going to take it all the way, but there's a penalty marker back inside the 20. And that will take the air out of this crowd in a hurry.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 84. Return team, half the distance to the goal. 1st down, timeout.
The penalty is on Demetrius Harris on the return. It would have been an 82-yard return for a touchdown, or would it? Patrick Mahomes' numbers on the day, 21 for 27, 249 yards and a couple of touchdowns as Hunt gets a couple. Let's go back to that checklist that we started on Mahomes at the top of the day. He did break Len Dawson's franchise record for touchdown passes in a single season. He's 51 yards shy of another 300-yard passing day. And then with a win, still onward and upward for the Kansas City Chiefs. 2nd and 7. Hunt. And nowhere to go for him on the near sideline as Ben Wickery shut off the lane. So it'll be 3rd down.
I'm not going to be crazy enough to sit here and say Patrick Mahomes is going to guarantee that he gets 300 yards a day, but I will guarantee over the course of the rest of the season, he's going to have another 300-yard game. So
I think that's a safe bet. That's a safe bet.
That's about as safe a bet as you can make.
Look
right
at
there.
you way out on the limb.
Yes.
Yeah, careful there. Don't
right,
fall
right.
off.
Oh, yeah, right.
Here's a 3rd and 7.
15. Hey, Mike 20. Hey, Mike 57. Not out 57, 20. 15. 180.
Taking charge at the line of scrimmage, getting time and throwing deep, and nobody there.
Well, Patrick Peterson read the route and just undercut it, and the sack didn't come, so he was beat deep.
One of the few mistakes. I don't even know if you call that a mistake because Tyreek Hill was on an inside route. There was nobody to the outside, and I think Patrick Mahomes, sensing that he'd been hanging on to that ball a long time, didn't want to risk taking a sack fumble.
The Cardinals are going to get some decent field position out of this. Christian Kirk can't shake a tackler, and there's a penalty marker. Damian Williams in on the tackle. And let's see what the call is. That's what Carl Jeffers is saying. Let's see what the call is.
Yeah, it'd be a shame because the Cardinals will lose good field position with the penalty.
Well, there's 3 flags down on the field.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 16, return team, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Trent Sherfield guilty of it. CBS's Super Bowl season continues. Game 2 of our doubleheader. Most of you will see An NFC West matchup. Seattle looking to gain ground in the standings. They face division leaders, the Los Angeles Rams. Others will see Miami take on Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. 6 minutes, 11 seconds, all that remains. And the Cardinals, from their own 24. Rosen, quick pass over the middle. That is complete and hit immediately as the tight end, Ricky Seals-Jones.
Well, he's going to have to continue to get that ball out of his hand quick, Trent, because it's hunting time for that defensive line of Kansas City.
Well, and the Cardinals are going to hurry-up mode here, needing 2 scores with under 6 minutes to go.
Rosen looks left, throws left, back shoulder, except the shoulder had gone by. Christian Kirk incomplete, 3rd and 4.
Considering how definitive Rosen threw that ball, I think that was a mistake by Kirk.
I think the rookie receiver hung him out on that one.
Third and 4. 3 out of 4 on 3rd down attempts so far today. The give straight ahead is David Johnson, and Johnson has the first down, close to the 40-yard line.
David Johnson, the ball carrier.
Well, catching the Chiefs by surprise with the quick draw up the middle. Everybody in the building thinking it's going to be a pass play. Johnson able to get to that next level and pick up the first down.
Johnson, 89 yards rushing on the day. Rosen going down inside the 30-yard line. Chris Jones.
Well, he's had a monster day working over the interior line of the Arizona Cardinals. But again, D4 just whipped Andre Smith coming off the edge. Josh had to jump up into the pocket right into Chris Jones.
I know D4 doesn't get any credit on that one, but he definitely got an assist.
2nd and 17. Over the middle, Johnson. And Johnson back to the 40-yard line. O'Daniel and Sorensen combined for the tackle. It will be 3rd and 10. They need midfield for a first down. Rosen throwing, that's complete. And just at the first down marker is Ricky Seals-Jones. That is a first down. Clock continues to move, 4:20 to play.
Yeah, Andy Reid was talking about Daniel Sorensen, getting him back because he is so valuable covering tight ends and running backs. But Ricky Seals-Jones got the best of him on that one.
Rosen steps up, throws, has the pass complete to Fitzgerald. He has a first down, and he makes it to the 35.
Fitz going up, just going to sit down right by the first down marker, peels to the outside. The Chiefs decide to bring pressure that time. Sorensen on a blitz. Rosen gets rid of the ball quickly, pick up another first down.
Coming up on 3.5 to play. Rosen under pressure. Just as he released, he got hit from behind.
That time Breland speaks with the pressure. Coming off the left side, beating DJ Humphries. Rosen just gets rid of the ball, has to sail it high, not able to finish the throw. Chiefs have gone to a lot of cover 22 man. 2 safeties deep, man-to-man underneath with a trail technique. If you have the time, you'd like to get a double move in there. You're able to get them.
Yeah, they got to shake them. The best matchup against 2 man is probably Ricky Seals-Jones on those interior guys.
2nd and 10. We'll give it to Edmonds. And Edmonds has running room up the middle. First down yardage inside the 25 to about the 23. And we have a penalty marker. That's going to bring it back.
Holding, number 68, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Penalty is on Jerry Vunovich. And on that last reception, Larry Fitzgerald is now number 2 all-time in receiving yards in NFL history, behind only the great Jerry Rice. We talked with him last night. He said, those things just don't mean a whole lot to him right now.
Second place to Larry doesn't mean much, but it will in a few years.
2nd and 20. Rosen, just too much pressure. Allen Bailey, the first to get to him.
Well, Chris Jones and Allen Bailey, they need to make sure they're taking care of D Ford, because once again, D Ford, you see him come off the edge again against Andre Smith, forcing Rosen to step up in the pocket where Bailey's able to make the sack.
I don't think you have to question Josh Rosen's toughness.
3rd and 28. Rosen pulled it down a couple of times, and then the pass is too high for Ricky Seals-Jones. And 4th and 28. I don't think you have any choice but to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah, you have to go, but you sure would like to have a better down in distance. But you're going to probably see 2-man.
Yep.
And
you'd like to have a little better protection.
Well, you talk about Rosen's toughness. I tell you what, he got planted once again that time and
fired it down the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, the front, they're only rushing 4 guys.
Yes.
And you got 5 blockers because you're going to have to spread the field against this defense. They got to step up and do their job.
They need the 25-yard line for a first down. Rosen under pressure and going down, and once again, offensive line was beaten again. Andre Smith on the near side, and D Ford brought him down.
D Ford's having a day.
That's just one of those things. I mean, Byron Leftwich is a young coordinator. They probably didn't have enough in their game plan to have somebody over there helping him, because Andre Smith is just outmanned all day.
I don't understand why. You see the first step, it was like a hesitation step to check inside. He did the one step and then slid to the outside. I'm not telling him what technique to use. I just know it's a track meet coming around the edge.
The other thing, that could have been another roughing the passer because he hit him in the knees. But rookie quarterbacks sometimes don't get those calls.
This is Kareem Hunt. And Patrick Mahomes is still at 249 yards passing. He has a streak of 8 consecutive games with 300 or more. I want to remind you, stay tuned for the NFL Today update, delivered by Pizza Hut, time permitting. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. We know what Patrick Mahomes can do. I'm sure you're taking a look at Josh Rosen and seeing how he has performed in defeat and under duress most of the day.
I'm really, really impressed. I mean, just got to get some people around him, especially offensive linemen.
Hunt.
I've been impressed with Rosen as well. I think his toughness is showed today. The fact that he's standing in there and continues to keep firing it, it's you know, as Coach said, just to echo what he needs some help. He needs some help with protection. And
yeah, early in this second half, you kind of took a look at what's happening, and you know what's coming by now.
Yeah, I mean, they ran the ball really well in the whole game, and David Johnson looked like he's back. Just got to get positions up front where you're helping, either chipping, but then again, then you're taking a receiver out of the, then you allow them to double somebody else. So it's a cat and mouse game. But those 2 tackles, well, all 5 linemen got their butt kicked today.
3rd and 11. Hunt. And Hunt to the 40. And here's a penalty flag. The
holding, number 72, offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Is on Eric Fisher. So the Chiefs will kick it away, and field position is not going to be great for the Arizona Cardinals with 2:27 to play.
Well, I know we like to talk about numbers and the numbers Patrick Mahomes is putting up, and we have the different graphics from the things that he's been able to do in just a short time in his career. We asked him about the numbers on Friday. He said, listen, I got all kinds of numbers. I had huge numbers in college. He goes, but we didn't win football games or didn't win enough football games. And so when I asked him about the numbers now and what he's been able to accomplish this season, he said, listen, as long as we keep winning, I don't really care what the numbers are. It just so happens that's the way we're winning football games, is with those numbers. So even though the 300-yard streak may come to an end today, I think
he'll be happy with it if they get out of here with the win.
No, I don't think there's any doubt.
Should this score hold, we'll tell you about that in a moment. Let's go to New York once again. JB and Coach.
A Pats failed fourth down conversion.
Yeah, it's going to lead to this Derrick Henry 10-yard run. Tennessee 17 unanswered points. They lead 34-10. 7 minutes to go in the game.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Well, those Tennessee Titans raised a few eyebrows with a win at Dallas. How about this one?
Both of Bill Belichick's assistants, Matt Patricia and Mike Vrabel, put it on him this year.
Should this score hold, it'll be Kansas City's lowest scoring output of the season, 26 points. This is David Johnson, and Johnson close to the 20.
David Johnson, the ball carrier.
And that'll take us, unless someone stops the clock, it'll take us down to the 2-minute warning unless they get a snap off in the next 3 seconds. And they will not. It'll be 2nd and 1 when we come back. 2 minutes to play at Arrowhead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. And by Uber. Doors are always opening.
Two minutes to play here in Arrowhead Stadium. Arizona with 1 timeout remaining. You know, as you watched Arrowhead, as you watched Arizona go after this Kansas City defense, I think other teams learn how you can attack this Kansas City offense.
2 weeks in a row, teams have really gone after their defense, but then just beat those tackles.
Pass over the middle is complete. Bex Seals Jones for the first down. And the clock continues to roll.
You never want to use that word trap game, but I think at halftime, the Chiefs fell into the trap game.
Well, when we talked to Andy Reid about that on Friday, we said, do you think your team would be looking ahead to next week's game, the Monday Nighter against the Rams in Mexico City? And he said, you know what? We don't even bring that up. We just trust the process. Every week we have a process, and we're going to go through that same process. We try not, we know the outside forces. We know the things that are being talked about as we look at the Chiefs' schedules coming up. And he said, we just got to trust the process and trust our players won't be looking ahead. And
I think that first half was so easy. Yeah. That's when you fall in it.
Yep. It's easy to say. It's another thing it's hard to do. Not look ahead when you see that type of matchup coming up.
Rosen shovels it out to the far side. And going for the first down is David Johnson. Stops the clock at 1:29.
Well, the other thing you got to remember if you're the Chiefs is, the Chargers are right on your heels. The Chargers are only 1 game back. Well, I guess it'd be a game and a half because they beat them head-to-head, but they have another matchup coming up with them here in a few weeks. So you're not only trying to set yourself up for the playoffs from a home field position, you got to realize in your division you got the team nipping at your heels.
That pass to Kirk incomplete, and it will be 2nd and 10. 1:25 on the clock. Once again, Mahomes at 249 yards on the day. That consecutive 300-yard passing streak will end. And the only thing they're giving Josh Rosen is short 5- and 7-yard passes.
Yeah, just soft zone and 4-man pressure.
Boy, what pressure they have provided. That pass way off the mark on the far side. And it's 4th and 4.
Yeah, I don't blame Josh for hurrying up right there. He's been hit every time he took his 5th step all day. And when you're trying to throw a timing route and you throw off your back foot, you're not going to get it there right.
Well, he's going to need a couple ice baths this week because he's taking a beating back there. So give him credit for continuing to step in there and fire it. But the Chiefs have been relentless with their pass rush.
4th and 4. Fitzgerald with the catch and first down yardage, and then a little bit more to midfield. Kendall Fuller with the stop, and they'll line up at midfield with a first down. And Arizona now out of timeouts as they use their 3rd and final one here in the second half. We have a little bonus coverage coming your way. Look at the shootout in Indianapolis between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Colts. 29-26. Colts by 3 and plenty of time to play.
How about that one? Indianapolis was up on them quite a bit, so Jacksonville's made a little bit of a comeback.
Yeah, big time.
We've said that a lot today. We look at the scoreboard and we go, how about that one? How about that one?
Yeah, it's well, the Tennessee-New England game really jumped out to us, but this game here, Indianapolis was up quite a bit, so Jacksonville clawing their way back.
How about the points that New Orleans put on the board on the road at Cincinnati? Those are throws. That is complete. And this is Fitzgerald, and Fitzgerald to about the 46. 40 seconds to play.
One thing I love about Larry Fitzgerald, he's playing like it's the first quarter. I mean, going hard, making every play. He's a pro's pro.
Under a half minute to play. Intercepted at the 35-yard line. Picked off by Steven Nelson. Nelson still on his feet. Up the sideline and out of bounds. Interception number 3 on the season for number 20.
Well, B.A., you talked a little bit ago about the out route that Josh Rosen threw. They didn't step into it, that he was throwing off his back foot, trying to get rid of it quickly. I think he does a little bit more of the same right here. Sees the pressure coming in. He can't finish. His arm is getting hit on the follow through. He sails it. Nelson takes advantage of it.
And with 17 seconds on the clock, Patrick Mahomes has a kneel down, and the Kansas City Chiefs have their 9th win of the season.
For the Arizona Cardinals, there's a lot to learn in this game. Josh Rosen, you don't visit many more hostile places than this, and I thought he stood up to the pressures pretty well.
Players meet at midfield as the clock winds down. Arizona goes to 2-7 on the year. And the Kansas City Chiefs win it, the final. The Chiefs 26, Arizona 14. Up next, it's the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut. For Trent, for Bruce, for Melanie, for all of us here in Kansas City, Greg Gumbel saying so long. Let's take you to James Brown in New York.